Peace. Welcome, everyone. Welcome. As usual, we're going to give it a few moments to allow people to receive their notifications and join us for this day as we share some good energy. So welcome, welcome, welcome. Today is December 2nd. Oh, no, it is December 3rd. December 3rd, 2018. 2018. And today we will take a look at hexagram number 25. But before we get there, get everything all set up. It is also the first day of Hanukkah. Last night was the official kickoff for the first day. You light the first candle. And I'm using my electric menorah here because that's a lot safer than having a candle menorah. This is just one of my mini menorahs that, not mini, but it is a mini, M-I-N-I, but many, many, whatever, M-A-N-I, and M-A-N-Y. So I'll just put that right there. Thank you. So welcome, Pavel. Welcome, Sarah. Welcome, David. I was trying to waste a few minutes, wanted to wait until at least some of our regulars come on, because I think it's always nice to invite the energy of the chimes together. So let's go ahead and take a nice deep centering breath. Welcome us into this sacred space. Peace. Thank you for being here. I'm Tamalangina, Priestess Heart. Okay. So we're going to get out our Tao Te Ching and open and see where Spirit leads us today. Okay. Does everyone have their favorite beverage? I have my masala chai. I made it with a mixture of Nigiri black tea from India and Assam black tea. It has clove, black pepper, cardamom, a little bit of raw sugar, powdered goat's milk, and a little spoon of extra virgin coconut oil. Need to get all the fat I can get. David has his coffee, very good. And Pavel, peppermint tea. Welcome, Flying Flowers. Welcome, Jesse. Welcome, Jesse Matkin. Okay, so we're going to open up, and I just let the page fall where it may. And let me set aside my vanity and put on my reading glasses. So today we are open to, excuse me, to chapter 38. And our first translation is Lao Tzu Tao Te Ching by Ursula Le Guin. And we are on chapter 38. And I will go ahead and bring this out for you. Okay. From the Tao Te Ching, talking about power. Great power, not clinging to power, has true power. Lesser power, clinging to power, lacks true power. Great power doing nothing has nothing to do. Lesser power doing nothing has an end in view. The good, the truly good, has no end in view. The right, the very righteous, do has an end in view. And those who act in true obedience to law roll up their sleeves and make the disobedient obey. So, when we lose the way, we find power. Losing power, we find goodness. Losing goodness, we find righteousness. Losing righteousness, we're left with obedience. Obedience to law is the dry husk of loyalty and good faith. Opinion is the barren flower of the way, the beginning of ignorance. So great-minded people abide in the kernel, not the husk, in the fruit, not the flower, letting the one go, keeping the other. There you go. Welcome, Critical Break. Welcome. At the end, I think I will choose a couple of people to pull for readings from the Soul Trees Oracle, but that will be towards the end of our session, right before we sign off. And now we're going to do the translation of another Shambhala classic, John C.H. Wu of Lao Tzu, Tao Te Ching. High virtue is non-virtuous, therefore it has virtue. Low virtue never frees itself from virtuousness, therefore it has no virtue. High virtue makes no fuss and has no private ends to serve. Low virtue not only fusses, but has private ends to serve. High humanity fusses but has no private ends to serve. High morality not only fusses but has private ends to serve. High ceremony fusses but finds no response. Then it tries to enforce itself with rolled up sleeves. Failing Tao, man resorts to virtue. Failing virtue, man resorts to humanity. Failing humanity, man resorts to morality. Failing morality, man resorts to ceremony. I believe, is that it? Oh, here we go. Next page. Now, ceremony is the merest husk of faith and loyalty. It is the beginning of all confusion and disorder. As to foreknowledge, it is only the flower of Tao and the beginning of folly. Therefore, the full-grown man sets his heart upon the substance rather than the husk, upon the fruit rather than the flower. Truly, he prefers that. He prefers what is within to what is without. Welcome, Enlightened 17. Good sunrise to you. Okay, so today we are looking at hexagram number 25. And we will start our sharing off with the 64 Faces of Awakening. Acceptance is the title for this particular one. acceptance. So we're going to look at number 25. Okay, just checking the chat room right quick. I'll have to check out your recording from Saturday night Critical Break. Let's see, number 25. The path of love is the path of acceptance. In order to accept something about yourself, and especially something uncomfortable, it must be recognized. The gift is acceptance. The shadow is constriction. The city, universal love. So, acceptance wisdom story. I grew up in a strict household where boys were expected to be strong even when my beloved older brother died from an illness. I wasn't allowed to cry. I took all of the pain and vulnerability inside of me and buried it deep within. I married at a young age to a kind, sensitive woman who took care of our home and gave me 2 sons. I provided for my family, but I was emotionally ignorant and constricted. There were times my wife would ask me if I was happy. Not knowing what to say, I'd tell her I was fine. Until the day my firstborn son died. My wife's broken heart flowed like a river while mine turned to ice. I wouldn't allow his name to be spoken and forced my wife to get rid of anything that reminded me of our son. Then I became obsessed with things. My house, my money, my wife, my child, they were all mine. I forbade my wife and our youngest son from leaving the house. If they showed signs of emotional weakness, I became cold or exploded with rage. At times, I could barely breathe. I was engulfed by fear so primal it pervaded every moment of every day. I hated that fear and lashed out at anyone who reminded me of it. I was completely unreachable. It wasn't until I discovered that my wife had kept a picture of our firstborn and saw my son's terror as I raised my hand to strike her that I collapsed onto the floor, shaking like a leaf. Though I didn't deserve it, my wife and son held me until my tears thawed out my heart. My breath deepened. My body gave way to the grief of my entire life. Finally, love, lightness, and softness came over me, my wife and son, that we had never known. This was many years ago, but it marked the beginning of a blessed and joyous family life, filled with love poems, whirling dances, and mystical celebrations. Look into my eyes, and you will feel the love that comes from accepting and being accepted in one's darkest wounds. So here you go. Acceptance invites you to look into his eyes. And I would invite you, and as I have learned to do myself over the years, and I also recommend it to clients, to friends, take time to look in the mirror at yourself, to look into your eyes in the mirror and tell yourself how much you love yourself, to tell yourself that you're beautiful, that you're okay, that your feelings, your emotions, whether they're happiness, their sadness, their joy, it might even be rage at that particular moment, that you're okay. And it is okay to express yourself, your emotions, to accept yourself exactly as you are. I really enjoy these cards by Dr. Rosie, uh, and each and every one of them. It's like these eyes. It's like, as I mentioned before, and especially in this day and age, most people are unable to look you directly in your eyes when they're speaking to you. And the eyes really are the windows of the soul. And a lot of the time, people refuse to look you in the eye because they can't look their own self in the eye. They're denying who they are. They're afraid of who they are, and they don't want anyone to see any of their so-called weaknesses or their sadness or their fears or the greatness that they might have. Some of us have been, conditioned to put our light under a barrel, to hide our light in a bushel, to diminish ourselves, to lower ourselves to be accepted by others. But when we accept our own light, when we accept our own greatness, we're also then able to accept the greatness and the light in others and to encourage ourselves and each other, all of us, to grow and to evolve and become what we were meant to be. And as Michael Jackson would say, start with the man in the mirror, the woman in the mirror, the person in the mirror, looking into your own eyes. Okie dokie. So this corresponds to hexagram number 25. I'm going to set that right there. And let me check out the chat room. That there. And so, of course, as usual, we get our illustrated I Ching, Yi Jing, from Ma Padma Devi. I believe I finally have her name right. I believe she was an Osho devotee or disciple of Osho. And she also illustrated the Osho Zen Tarot. She's beautiful, beautiful, beautiful art. So this is, make sure I have that right. Yes. Hexagram number 25. Pure intention, innocence. Let me put my glasses on. So the key words that Ma Padma Devi has for us, a trusting nature, originality, spontaneity, open-heartedness, simplicity, the unexpected. And again, even look at her own illustration of this Yi Jing. She also, there's a pair of adult eyes down there at the bottom. At the top, oh my gosh, look at that newborn babe coming out of the lotus blossom. I always like to say, I liken my soul to 1,000-petal lotus blossom. And, throughout our life, where each petal of the lotus gradually opening, being allowed to open and unfurl. So many nuances and attributes that we all have, and taking this life to get to truly know who we are. Look at that, precious. I love babies. Oh, guess that's why I had 4. Oh. So there we go. So this hexagram is made up of 2 bagua, of course, as they all are, and it is heaven, over thunder. Heaven over thunder. So let's take a look at what Benebell Wynn has to say on the matter in her translation. We always start with Benebell Wynn, then we take a look at Dr. Kersan Hong, who is the physicist from MIT who did a literal translation of the I Ching. And then you have Benebell Wynn, an amazing young woman from the West Coast of the United States. You have her translation. And then we have a beautiful interpretation by Brian Brown Walker. So we're looking at the Heaven Bagua, which is this one right up on top, Heaven, which is 3 lines of Yang energy, which is the masculine energy. Heaven, it's creation, the creative force, divine Yang, strength and creativity, expansive energy, the sky, power, authority, the celestial kingdom, the immaterial and the intangible. Oh, Sarah, it's so sweet. I'm grateful for you too, dear, and all the wonderful chats that we've had. And thank you. Okay, don't make me cry, girl. Okay. Metal is the element. The direction is northwest. The season is cardinal autumn. Uh, the season is winter solstice. We're getting close to that. The life aspect. Stop it, CB. The life aspect is fatherhood, blessings, allies, friends, opportunities. Medically, it's related to the head, brain, spinal cord, nervous system, mental or emotional states. The chakra, the crown chakra. The animal, the horse, which is interesting because if I'm remembering correctly, I think the Yi Jing, one of the symbols for the Yi Jing is actually a horse. The archetype is the philosopher, the sage, and of course the sage is that part of you that part of you that has reached that like spiritual maturity, whether you want to call it your higher self or your oversoul, that part that truly knows and understands and that you are getting in touch with to fully immerse in life with. And heaven is over thunder. And thunder, the the bagua on the bottom, is 2 yin lines on top of a yang line. Or as we start from the bottom and go up, which I should have done the thunder bagua first and then the heaven, so I apologize. It's a yang line, the masculine line, and then 2 feminine lines. So here we have it right there. Thunder, Zhen, to shake or arouse, inciting movement, taking the initiative, excitation. I love that word. Excitation, revolution, division, catalyst, impetus, stimulation, and impulse. And what do you call it? The element is wood, direction east, season summer solstice, cardinal autumn, life aspect, family, ancestry, medically related to the foot, legs, tendon, gallbladder, liver, sensory motor system, sympathetic nervous system, and physical pain. All of those things that get you going and keep you moving or could stop you in your tracks, eh? The chakra is the throat chakra, your ability to, speak and share your ideas and speak up for yourself. The animal is the dragon, the archetype, the emperor, authority, being in charge of self. The immortal is Cao Guo Zhu, patron of nobles and aristocracy. And did I do the noble? Oh, the noble for heaven. Interesting. Not I didn't mean to say noble. The immortal for the heaven Gua Bagua is Han Jiang Ji, patron of musicians. So there's your clue. Music is heavenly, excites creation, changes your mood. Last night, I had the wonderful experience to I have a downloaded copy of Bhagavan Das. I'm a big fan of Bhagavan Das and Krishna Das. Their deep masculine voice really resonates with me. And Bhagavan Das has beautiful bhakti yoga music, and it's just ecstatic. So we're going to look at number 25. Pure intention and innocence. Undertake your endeavor with the innocence of the sky's thunder, formidable yet with neither good nor evil intentions. The thunder is innocent, rolling and striking without falsity. Likewise, your endeavor should not be one undertaken out of ambition or the need for personal validation. Along your journey, you may encounter bandits. Do not change your direction. Do not resist the bandits, but do not respond to them either. And you can also think of bandits like what comes up in mind. It's like your journey. Remember those Western movies and they're on the horseback and they're riding along on the plain? You know, tumbleweeds, the big bushy, big balls of lint, natural nature, big bushy lint that's rolling around, big boulders, or even rattlesnakes on your way. Those are like bandits there to distract you and pull you away from your eye on the prize. Just let it be and embody innocence. So along your journey, you may encounter bandits. Do not change your direction. Do not resist the bandits, but do not respond to them either. Just let it be and embody innocence. It is the initiation of creative expansion. The long journeys are unfavorable at this time. So that, of course, is, if you're seeking for divination purposes and, your question was, should I go on that Carnival cruise? Which personally, I never would. The idea of being on a big ship in the middle of the ocean with thousands of people. No, thank you. Give me a tree in the Blue Ridge Mountains and a cabin. I'd be just fine. Just keep the bears away from me. Another example of bandits can be, when you encounter situations in your life that may have distracted you, or you feel that your energy has been pulled in one way or another. Learn from those situations, but don't cling to them, wallow in regret, how we sometimes can do. Of course, we can express our emotions, and we have to deal with things and move through things and move through the energy of things. But stop looking back, as a friend recently told me. Okay, so we're going to look at Kursan Hong, Dr. Hong's translation, and get ready, because this is going to be straight and to the point, and you're going to probably have no idea what he's talking about. This is the literal translation of 25. Propriety. Sign of the great sacrifice. Auspicious omen. If anything is improper, woe will befall. It would be unfavorable to go anywhere. And of course, line number 1 corresponds to the bottom Bagua thunder. Go only with propriety, all's well. If you could reap without planting, re-sow without following, then go. There once was a careless fire, started perchance by a cow. The Passers-by took everything to the towner's well and how. I'm sorry, that just made me chuckle. And it just made, was it the fire of 1817 something in Chicago? So the Great Fire of Chicago, wasn't it started by Mrs. O'Leary's cow? That's what, that's where I went to when I was reading that. Possibly auspicious, no troubles, an unexpected illness needs no medicine to cure. Improper action brings woes. Nothing will be gained. Thank you, David. David Lux says, yep, it was. When you guys are listening to me on these live streams, I'm trying to be as open as possible, and I'm reading the I Ching, and then I'm chuckling on the inside and thinking about Mrs. O'Leary's cow and the Great Fire of Chicago. That's the inner machinations of my mind. The pretty butterflies right over there. We have to remember to laugh at ourselves, to laugh at this thing, this so-called life, to laugh at it all, to be serious and to laugh, to be in joy and to be okay with sorrow when it comes. Okay, so we are with Brian Brown Walker now, the I Ching, or Book of Changes, a guide to life's turning points. And both of these gentlemen were both recommended by Benabel Wen. And so Sarah says, so much cow symbolism in my field of awareness recently. Awesome, awesome. Okay, so there you go. Wu Wang, innocence, the unexpected. All good comes when we are innocent. And what does it mean to be innocent? Wasn't it Jesus who said, lest ye become like the little children? Lest you become like little children, you will not see the kingdom of heaven. Lest you become born again, which this is what this is right here. And as Critical Break always mentions in her live streams, you know, get in touch with that inner child. Wake up, nourish, resurrect that inner child. Because it is through the eyes of a child when we're able to say mazeh, which is Hebrew for what is this, when we're able to look at life and be open with an open heart and with such innocence. And yeah, you know, I've been on this planet for almost 50 years and I've been through a lot. And I've cried the deepest oceans possible and carried some heavy baggage. And yet, time and time again, I continue, I can't help it, but to continue to, even after all the tears and boo-hooing, go back to trusting in that innocence. Of course, keeping the wisdom, hopefully converting that knowledge into wisdom. But spend time around little children and watch how resilient they are and how open they are. I recently had the experience. So my youngest child, his grandfather passed away 2 years ago, and on his father's side of the family, they're Catholic. And recently, I wasn't paying attention to the entire conversation, but the grandmother had said something about Jesus can heal X, Y, and Z. I don't know. My ears just perked up when she was mentioning Jesus heals. So I looked at my son, and he says, I wish Jesus would heal your tears, will stop you from crying. And she was like, what do you mean? It's like, every time you talk about grandpa, you start crying. And she said, but it's good to cry. And my son says, but you talk about him and then you make yourself cry. And she's like, but it's good to cry. He's like, but not all the time. It's annoying. You have to keep going, Grandma. It's annoying. And, I didn't say anything out of the mouth of babes. And then later, eventually, she said, there's some great words of wisdom in that boy. And it's true. Children are just, they're precious. So you want to have a guru? Get to know some children, some little children, and watch their approach to life. Welcome, Regina. Welcome. And it's that little child that we must nurture. You see the adult at the bottom, the innocence and the trusting and love of a little child. And of course, as you know, I always say, expressing our emotions is good. But then there comes a point where, are we expressing our emotions to move through them, or are we expressing them to wallow in them? And it can, it can be addictive. It can be a trap. So let's continue with this. In the very center of each of us, there dwells an innocent and divine spirit. If we allow ourselves to be guided by it in every situation, we can never go wrong. Wu Wang comes to remind us that we must actively disengage our egos before we can obtain the vast rewards that come from living in a state of innocence. The nature of the ego is that when we exercise it, it takes us out of the present. So you can look at that. It's the nature of the ego when we exercise it, when we decide to keep looking back, when we decide to wallow. Remember, there's a difference between expressing and processing than wallowing. When we do that, it takes us out of the present. When we engage in ambitions, anxieties, or anticipations, our ego is skipping ahead. And when we miss the guidance of the creative, and we miss the guidance of the creative in the present moment. So whether our ego is taking us to the past and we're wallowing, or when our ego is pushing us forward, what are we doing next? Where are we going next? What are we doing next? Rather than being in the present moment, we miss the guidance of the creative. Now, the creative, you can translate that as God, as source, as life, as mother, father, God, however you want to, as the universe, or as the creative, that divine, that energy. You can call it divine, you can, whatever you want to call it. It's the energy of the constantly creative nature of life that just continues to keep going and keep going. When we engage in anger, judgment, and condemnation, whether toward ourselves or others, our ego is looking backward, and we cannot see the sage's clear solution to the present situation. In either case, the result is misfortune. Only by stilling the ego and accepting life in its entirety can we become innocent. In this state, we are receptive to the help of the higher power and can meet with good fortune wherever we go. You are advised now to stop looking forward and backward, to abandon your ambitions, to disengage from judgments and critical thinking. If a thought, attitude, or action is not in accord with principles of acceptance, equanimity, humility, and gentleness, do not indulge in it. The I Ching encourages you to actively practice innocence because the ego is strong. Good God, yes, it is. You must make a conscious and conscientious effort to be innocent. If you willfully unstructure your attitude, open your heart to deity and allow yourself to be guided by that which is innocent and pure, you will meet with success in the coming time. So there you go. That's hexagram number 25. And so we're doing a lot of talk about ego, and I'm just going to give you my take on ego. My idea, and it may not be yours, but I'm just sharing my thoughts on it. We're not trying to destroy ego. We're not trying to subjugate ego, because we need ego in order to get us to get up, and whether we're hunting and gathering food or building a shelter or clothing ourselves, it's that drive in life that causes us to fend for ourselves and take care of ourselves. My idea, what I've thought of, is that we must mature the ego so that me is will not be the entire driving force of our life. We do need it. In Judaism, it's called the ayin hara, or the ayin tov, the good eye or the evil eye. The ayin hara. We need the ayin hara. We need at moments to get out and hunt, or get out and go to the grocery store and buy food for ourselves. We can't just give everything, spend every last dime or give every last dime away. We do have to take care of ourselves, but we must balance it and tame it properly so that, we are able to rise above the basic animal instincts, the basic carnal animal instincts that we have. Welcome, Haunted by the Truth. Thank you for being here. Okay, so I want to go ahead. If anyone would like for me to pull a card for them, I have 2 slots available. So the first 2 people that say me, I will pull a card for you. And this is from the Soul Trees Oracle deck. You probably can't even see it there. It's so tiny. This is the Soul Trees Oracle deck. I love you. Okay, Pavel, me. And we got one more. And if any of you are interested in having a one-on-one session with me, there, links below. Okay, so I got 3 people, which is what I wanted. So there we go. Pavel, Enlightened 17, and Regina Cockrell. It's so nice to see you and alive, Regina. Always appreciate your comments. I appreciate everyone who takes time to leave comments for me, because it gives me feedback. And your honesty is always appreciated. Praise, constructive criticism. So Pavel, go ahead and connect with your heart center. And I'm going to pull a card for you. Soul trees for you. So I have the tree 3, Pavel, Enlightened, and Regina. And perhaps I can get you on the next one, Katrina. Just wanted to do 3 today. So this is for Pavel. Okay. Transformation. Pavel, did we pull a card similar to this for you before? Transformation. So I'm looking at this, Pavel. Oh gosh, look at the beautiful tans and purples in there. There's something that wants to come up out of you, Pavel. And so I'm going to encourage you to let go, to take a chance and dip your toe in that fountain of the unexpected. There's a situation that's coming up in your life that maybe might not necessarily something that you would consider for yourself, But in order for you to have a breakthrough and to have a meaningful transformation, you're going to have to do something that's completely unexpected, out of character, in order to make it to that next level. So there you go, transformation. Enlightened 17. You are welcome, Pavel. And these cards are by Alyssa Williams Yee, Soul Trees Oracle. And Enlightened 17, this one is for you. You guys can see my thank you, David. Reminds everyone, please thumbs up, share, subscribe. Visit me often. I love company. Okay, so this is for you, Enlightened 17. Okay, thank you, Critical Break. Whoops. Clarity, clarity, clarity. Okay, I'm looking at this card, Enlightened 17. Okay, you're being called to greater clarity in your life. And what you're going to need to get to that clarity is not by constantly looking and looking and looking and looking in the light for it, even though you would think using this, what do you call those things, torches, flashlight, turning on the light. No, that's just going to blind you. You are being called to go within, to sit in darkness, to shut out everything and take time to really go deep within into your own depths of darkness. And in your own center within, your own place of darkness, your own womb. When I was a little girl, I used to spend a great deal of time praying in my closet. As an adult, I enjoy using a prayer shawl and being within that darkness. Of course, you don't need any external accoutrements. You don't. But as physical beings, hey, we're in the physical world. We're physical beings. We like tangible things. But you don't need any of that. Take time to really go within, sit in your darkness, get acquainted with the darkness, get acquainted with the depths of silence and being alone and in your own space, and watch the inner tree of life begin to light up and show you the truths that you need to see. Enlightened 17. Here you go. And last but not least, the lovely Regina Cockrell, who always leaves such beautiful comments for me, and I so appreciate it. It makes me smile every time I see your avatar show up on my notification. So this is for Regina Cockrell. I love the images that are being across the screen. The old man, the middle-aged person, the young baby. I hope you're taking all of the symbolism in. Even the bones, the ancient bone seal script that we have here. Meditate on those images, so beautiful. And if anyone after the broadcast would like for me to send a JPEG of any of these, whether it's hexagram 25 or the acceptance image or any of the images that I bring up during the session, if you would like for me to send them to you because maybe you want to do some further meditation, please feel free to ask me, email me at priestessheart108@gmail.com. Enlightened 17, wow, this is truth speaking. This has been coming to me in my dreams and told to me a few weeks ago. Well, there you go, Enlightened 17. I'm glad to be a witness for you in this space, beloved. All right, so Regina Cockrell, hopefully you're still here, or, whoa, okay. Oh, here's one that was right out. Okay, this is for Regina. Let me put those there. Tree. Within each and every one of us is a tree of life. Unique gifts. Oh, I know this is true. I don't know Regina personally, just experience her energy and essence with her words. But there is this beautiful flower, this beautifulness about you, Regina. And if you look at this tree, if you look at this tree, there's no leaves on the tree. It's a dark, beautiful, deep blue with very light shades of like a violet, purple sort of tone to it. There's no leaves on the trees, no blossoms, but there's beautiful flowers down on the grass around the tree. This is a beautiful tree, and this tree represents it represents your soul, your spirit. It's beautiful and it's strong, and we're waiting for you to pick up those flowers, to recognize the gifts that you have to offer, to recognize them, to be willing to face them, embrace them, to pick them up and adorn yourself with them, Regina, and to continue to share them with everyone. So there you go, Regina. Go ahead, gather up your flowers. You've been planting seeds your entire life, and it's time for you to move forward in them and to adorn yourself with them, and to recognize all of who you are and to keep going. So there you go. There you go, beloved. There you go. All right. So as we continue to count down or count up or down or however you want to do it, horizontal, we are moving towards, the days are getting shorter and shorter. It gets darker earlier and earlier. And then we're going to have winter solstice soon. So continue to do your work. I'm doing my best to do my work. Sometimes I trip and stumble and roll and get wet or get dirty and all of that, you know, but we must keep going. We must keep going. We must keep going. And the light will rise. The morning star, the northern star, however you want to put it, rededicating your inner temple. The story of Hanukkah. I'm gonna try to find, I have a beautiful little children's book called Sammy Spider's First Hanukkah. I'm gonna see if I can find that or find some children's story of Hanukkah to share with everyone. But the Festival of Lights, it's all about allowing our light to grow and to realize that no matter the trash heap that we might stumble through in life, it's okay. We can always, in any moment, rebirth ourselves, be born again. Am I mixing my metaphors? Who cares? It's all one. It is all one story. We can get in touch with that inner child, that inner innocence, and allow our light to continue to grow and illuminate. This little light of mine, I'm going to let it shine. I'm not going to hide it under a bushel. No, I'm going to let it shine. Allow your light to shine, because when you allow your light to shine, it illuminates the path for me. It illuminates the path for your neighbor. It illuminates the path for yourself. So there you go. I'll get off my soapbox now. Okay. So thank each and every one of you for being here. You're welcome, Regina. Thank you. Thank you, Enlightened 17. Thank you. Okay, let me go down the shout outs. Thank you, Critical Break. Thank you, David Lux. Thank you, Pavel. Thank you, Katrina Stone. I'll get you next time. Thank you. Let's see, who else do we have? Haunted by the Truth. Thank you, Sarah. Much love to each and every one of you. I'm Tamu Agina, Priestess Heart. Thank you all for being here. Let's take a moment. Take a nice deep breath. Let's take a moment to remember our ancestors. Let's take a moment to remember our ancestors and all those who have come before us and who have gone before us. I thank you for being here. I wish you peace and great bliss. Until next time, keep going. Keep going. Allow your light to shine. Remember your own innocence. Remember the child that you are, the beloved that you are. Peace.